War appears to be imminent. Donald Trump and Netanyahu appear to be poised to strike Iran any minute now, resuming open hostilities. Donald Trump just canceled his trip to Bedminster, where he was supposed to spend this weekend. According to the White House itinerary, he says he will be staying in Washington, D.C. A NOTAM, Notice to Air Mission or Notice to Airmen, has just issued in Iran, closing airspace all throughout Iran. You can see this NOTAM right here. According to Iran, the IRGC believes that Israel is about to strike. The IRGC says Iran's armed forces are preparing for war resumption with the United States in the coming hours. They've prepared what they're referring to as the new third struggle plan, targeting the U.S. and U.S. allies in a new and specific way. Per Tasnim, that's the state media in Iran, Trump is also inclined toward giving the final green light for major new strikes, according to multiple sources. Here's what state regime media known as CBS has just reported as well. They're saying the following. They're saying that according to CBS, citing sources with knowledge on the matter, the U.S. is indeed preparing to resume strikes on Iran. As of this afternoon, the final decision has not been made by Donald Trump, but we believe that this is going to happen. U.S. military and intelligence officials cancel their Memorial Day weekend plans in anticipation of possible strikes beginning tonight or this weekend. CBS News is reporting the Trump regime preparing for a fresh round of military strikes. As noted before, no final decision has been made at this specific moment. Another sign as well, in addition to looking at the airspace over Iran, you see all the planes flying around it. Well, Qatari foreign ministers and diplomats were in Iran earlier today. Apparently, they were trying to help facilitate some sort of resolution, which was not successful. All we believe was occurring was market manipulation. But you're seeing right here, with the closing of the airspace until Monday, a Qatari plane, which has Qatari VIP transports in it, can now be seen leaving Tehran in Iran. So they're heading out. We also know that Donald Trump and Netanyahu prefer to strike while there are productive peace negotiations. That's what they've demonstrated time and time again. Here's what we've also heard from MB Ghalibaf, Iran's leader of their parliament and lead negotiator. After negotiations appear to have completely failed, a source close to Iran's Ghalibaf assesses the war will resume in the coming hours. This is how Iran sees it. They expect the United States to conduct harsh strategic strikes on Iranian energy and possibly nuclear structure. The Pakistani army chief, the Pakistani army chief also canceled his Tehran trip tonight. That's new data right there, folks, because the head of Pakistan was supposed to be arriving in Iran. That was canceled. The Qatari VIPs, they're leaving right now. And one of the things that we're hearing as well is that Iran's foreign ministry, as they repeatedly have before, they reject today's claims of some broad understanding on nuclear material, or that gaps have narrowed, saying that the differences between Iran and the U.S. have basically remained unchanged. They're deep and extremely significant. Iran is not giving up control over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is not engaging in regime change. Iran wants full reparations. Iran wants a permanent security guarantee for itself and its proxy groups, whether it's Hezbollah, the Houthis, or militia groups in Iraq. And so that's the current status of where things stand. Now, what's Donald Trump doing as well? Well, he's posting bizarre predatory images like this at a time where you would expect to try to build alliances, to try to reach out to NATO allies. We know there's that NATO meeting taking place in Sweden, one of the parties that's there, Denmark and their foreign ministers in Sweden. Here's what Donald Trump is posting, this bizarre AI image of himself over mountains in Greenland, looking down and saying, "Hello, Greenland," eerily spying, eerily looking down in Greenland. Really disgusting as the Trump regime continues to say it wants to annex and conquer Greenland. Earlier today, I showed you video. I don't need to replay it, right? I don't need to replay it. Jeff Landry, Donald Trump's envoy to Greenland, who's the governor of Louisiana, who showed up uninvited to Greenland. He goes, we want it because we want to take all of their oil. With the Strait of Hormuz closed, imagine how much oil we can get from Greenland. There's more to life than oil and money. In Greenland, they enjoy a beautiful standard of living, historical preservation, their autonomy, their sovereignty, their peace, their way of life, no pollution. They've banned this type of drilling since 2021, but that's what the Trump regime wants. They view Greenland as a commodity to be taken and stolen, and Donald Trump posting that. Also, Donald Trump is posting this bizarre AI image that says Golden Dome for the White House. He's also posting weird photos of himself, and he's also posting the fact that Ken Paxton, the Texas corrupt AG who was impeached, now leads in the polls over John Cornyn, Republican senator from Texas, in the upcoming Texas primaries. This has made Republican senators absolutely livid that Donald Trump has destroyed the career of John Cornyn, who lots of Republicans view as being sufficiently loyal to Trump of all things, but also someone who was an important colleague for Republican senators. And it's one of the reasons we see Republican senators now striking back against Donald Trump. We've been reporting on that here on the MeidasTouch Network. Another sign that war is imminent, the fact that the House of Representatives shut down as well until June, the earliest, because the War Powers resolution was expected to pass yesterday, but MAGA Mike said, oh, we need to delay it. Because it's a privileged resolution, you can't cancel the vote, but he delayed it by saying, we're going to just close our session, adjourn. We'll come back sometime in June. And I think that one of the reasons that they did that is MAGA Mike was tipped off that war is likely to break out today. I also thought the massive market manipulation that we saw today take place, and the market doing very well today, was Donald Trump priming the market one more time before we see global depression caused by his catastrophic third round of invasions on Iran. And Iran is ready to go. They're prepared. And I think what we're going to see in the region will be nothing short of cataclysmic if this goes down. MAGA Republican Senator Roger Wicker also posting the following: we are at a moment that will define Trump's legacy. He's neocon, this guy. His instincts have been to finish the job he started in Iran, but he's still being advised to pursue a deal that would not be worth the paper it's written on. Our commander-in-chief needs to allow America's skilled armed forces to finish the destruction of Iran's conventional military capabilities and reopen the strait. Further pursuit of an agreement with Iran's Islamist regime risks a perception of weakness. We must finish what we started. It's past time for action. And you also heard Lindsey Graham saying similar words, really pushing for this catastrophic war to take place. Donald Trump also saying he will not be showing up at Don Jr.'s wedding this weekend. Trump posted the following: while I very much wanted to be with my son Don Jr. and the newest member of the Trump family, his soon-to-be wife Bettina, circumstances pertaining to government and my love for the United States of America do not allow me to do so. I feel it is important for me to remain in Washington, D.C. at the White House during this important period of time. Congratulations to Don and Bettina. Donald J. Trump, a sicko indeed. Let me give you just some final updates over here from what we're hearing from Iran. No deal is close. Nuclear issue off the table for now. Dropsite does a good summary here. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson said Friday that Pakistan's army chief visit represents a continuation of diplomacy and not a breakthrough, although that trip we now know has been canceled, even though we had the Qatari delegation show up and they leave. On the state of talks, Iran says the following. This is what their spokesperson says: we cannot say we have reached a point where a deal is close. No, it is not like that. The focus of these negotiations is on ending the war. At this stage, nuclear-related topics are not on the agenda. On Qatar and diplomacy, some countries are trying to offer their good offices to help and end the war and prevent escalation, which we value, but our official mediator is Pakistan. On nuclear rights, we are members of the NPT and have the right to use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. We have stated our position on highly enriched uranium very clearly. And to be clear, they said, you want us to enter into an Obama-style deal? We will do that deal or something similar. They say, we promise, whether we believe them or not, here's what they say. We promise we're not going to use it for any purposes that are weapons grade. You want to have people show up and to inspect, do that, but we're not giving up our material for non-weapons grade purposes, and we're not even going to talk about it right now. Until you give us the security guarantees, us, Hezbollah, it's a permanent ceasefire in Lebanon, no more attacks at Beirut, no more attacks. Well, until that happens, we don't even want to have a conversation, and we want reparations, and we control the Strait of Hormuz. As you know, Iran set up its port authority in the Strait of Hormuz. It has exercised a very strong stranglehold there. That's what's the latest there. And then on why nuclear talks are deferred. If we try to discuss these topics at this stage, we will not reach a result. We went down this road before. The differences were so great we could not reach an agreement, and the other side destroyed the negotiating table with its unreasonable demands and committed a crime by attacking Iran. So folks, that's where things stand. I think this was a comprehensive update of everything, of where we are right now. Do we expect war imminently? Yes. Do we expect it tonight, over the weekend? Yes. Does that mean it's going to happen? We don't know. But the best information, the best data around at this moment, although let's be clear, let me pull back for a second. Trump does taco frequently. Trump does chicken out. I just think you factor in Congress out of session. I think you factor in extra market manipulation. You factor in what's going on in the skies above Iran right now. Airspace cleared. You talk about the fact that Donald Trump canceling his trip. You put all these pieces together. That's where it indicates. That's where it indicates. But it could go in a completely other direction. That's the latest. We have to be diligent with our reporting. You may think that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, but you may not actually be subscribed. We need you subscribed right now, more than ever, to this channel. You know our war coverage here is first rate. No one breaks it down like the MeidasTouch network does. I hope you feel the same way. So please subscribe so we can get out the best and most accurate information as these developments continue. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network, signing out.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.